One of the most difficult tasks for a restless spirit is to rest. And when I'm telling you, for those of you who have demonic attachments or your spiritual practice involves with working with these spirits or energies, please listen to them. Because if you don't, especially with Lord Azazel, boy, is your life going to be hectic for a while. And it might not be in a tragic way. It might not be in a very serious way, but it's going to be so chaotically exhausting that you're finally going to need to rest. But because of my past experiences chronically with this problem, I've learned my lesson and I have been taking more time to decompress and deprogram. And the guilt starts to accumulate when you are feeling good about doing less. And that is a problem that our system has implemented on us as humans to give us incentive to work more, because we've normalized getting less input for the output that we give to this collective system, to this earth, whether you are building the buildings or saving lives or serving the coffee to this infrastructure. Or if you're disabled and you're just fucking vibing and you're not hurting people, and you'd be a safe space to go to if somebody were hurt, like that's good enough in my opinion. There's plenty of room on this planet for us to exist cohesively or in solitude and not owe anybody shit, as long as we don't feel like we are entitled to everybody else's labor. Like that's we all deserve to have some sort of incentive for what we give to the system. We've put in our time, every single one of us at some point. And when I tell you it is so difficult for me to be able to rest when I know so much chaos is going on in the world, it's even more nonsense than ever, and more tragedy, more this, more that. These political systems are set up to exhaust us. That's why we've been seeing so much more of it on our feed, and I have decided to pull back from some of those conversations consistently because I don't want to just exhaust my own communities that we've built together. It's difficult for someone like me because I want to tell everybody, you're being fucking conned, you guys. Like the whole Coca-Cola thing. I am in agreement with the boycott. I am a half Latin woman from Salinas, California, which is one of the major distributors of agriculture in the United States. I was the first generation to not have to work in agriculture or work as a child. So, like, I understand the complexities and everything that's going on. But me, I want to shout at the rooftops, it doesn't matter, guys. You're buying Pepsi and they're owned by the same fucking shareholders. And nobody's listening. So, you have to step back from the collective and you have to decompress. You have to call back your energy for real. I know a lot of you guys say the videos and the ladies like, I call back my energy from every single person, place, thing. Listen to that woman because she is fucking right. Call back your energy from everything. From everything that you have given to bosses, to old jobs, to old relationships that just wasted your fucking time, to old friendships that just wasted your time, whatever it is, call that back. Take this time to rest and call it back to yourself. And when guilt arises, you challenge it because you absolutely deserve to rest. You are tired, you're mentally and physically exhausted because this is not what the human experience is supposed to be. We're not supposed to be roaming this earth feeling guilty and ashamed of everything that we do when we're not hurting other people. And that is the main lesson that the fallen angels taught humanity. And the people who are in opposition to them, they live and they enjoy the fruits of that fucking knowledge. Everything that's technological, everything that has to do with cosmetics or fabrics, every single thing that you eat that's alchemized, that's fermented, is a result of demonic intervention. Daemon, which is just a Greek word for like an old god. Because they were gods in their own right. They are a higher caliber of species that saw so much potential in us. And we taught them about love. Because this is supposed to be, we are conscious beings, right? And this is supposed to be an experience for us to gather information. We are supposed to understand why we want to do the things we do, because our higher self already is that. All right. And I've been doing a ton of meditating lately, and I have been way less online during my downtime, which I already have limits on because I'm busy editing most of the time. But I have been in deep meditation with Belial and with Azazel, with Lucifer and Lilith in particular. And those are like the four first entities that I started to commune with when I made peace with theism. Because I've always been agnostic. I didn't feel a connection to the old gods. I felt a energetic connection to antiquity. but I didn't feel a connection to the Norse gods or any of the gods until later on in life. I believe that they existed. All of these magical tools that we have are psychological tools. We are we align our energy with the energies of the thing, the crystal, the earth that we're seeing, smelling, tasting, and we feel something because we're communicating without language, without, and we are spirits, we are beings that are able to attract things into our vortex, because this is, I believe, a simulation. We are here having an experience, and I believe that in reincarnation, and I respect people who don't, and I think it's vital that we have indifferences, because who would navigate that, right? But right now, what all of us are doing is we are having a hard time focusing on the things that interest us, the things that our higher selves want to experience, because we're exhausted, because we are in a hijacked system, and it's a slave-ran system. If you are indoctrinated into religious trauma, you're a slave to that system. If you have to work a 9 to 5 at a place you don't want, and you know that it's a dead end, and you know you're not getting compensated, it's a slave system. You most likely got put in there because of your parents, because they didn't know any better. And the system raised you. The state schools raised you. And all you get when you go to the state schools is, some of you might get a scholarship. Some people will, you get recruitment to the military, or you get told just to get a job. And there's good teachers and good people, but the system and the structures, the rules that they follow, everybody's enslaved, and they disagree with how it's set up, but they don't challenge it. How many of you have been in those situations? I've been exhausted my whole life. I've been just fighting for freedom. It's stupid. Like it sounds stupid to say, as a privileged American woman who had family that were completely underprivileged, and all the other aspects that come involved with that. I understand those fucking complexities very well. But I mean, I have been fighting for my own expansion and my own healing and my own freedom from just people my entire life, and sometimes it's needed. But simultaneously, I also need some rest, and I shouldn't feel guilty about that, and you shouldn't feel guilty about that. You shouldn't feel guilty because you struggle with your vices. This does not mean you should just fucking all in and fuck it. Don't give up. But you have to understand why you are struggling with those things. And a lot of it has to do with the structures of these systems, these global systems, these political systems, the religious ones. They psychologically warp us, and we are stuck in fucking charm spells. We are stuck in psychosis sometimes, because we feel like we have to climb the corporate ladder. Like, that's not psychosis in its own. Wasting your entire fucking existence to get a title and not even get a payout. And if you do, there's going to be a consequence to it. There's going to be cost to it. I'm not anti-money, you guys. I'm anti being in denial of how people make their money and the structures they support, and the denial of accountability that it contributes to the collective in a negative manner. And all of us contribute to it in one way or another. That doesn't mean you're bad and what you do is bad. I mean, the system that it's set up is bad. And as a result of us being around this sort of energy all the time and also battling ourselves, we're fucking siphoned. We live in a reality where we're told that we have to simultaneously feel guilt and shame while having the things that make us feel guilt and shame shoved into our face by the same people that own the same networks, that tell you the same, like, the same shit. The same preachers that go and do horrific shit will tell you not to listen to the music, or not to do this or not to do that, and you look up to these people because you're struggling, you don't know what the fuck you are, and you're tired and you're scared because you just walked into this world, you were birthed into this world blind, and you weren't given the tools to be able to navigate it. And you were told you have to go to school, you got to do this, you got to get a job, blah, 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 blah. And now everybody's tired. We're in 2025 and we see capitalism collapsing. And some of us are clinging on to it. And we're very District 1 energy, okay? Like Americans, for real. And those of us who live in the Western world, we have it really hard right now. It's turbulent. But we're struggling because we want excess of abundance, because we deserve to have abundance, and we deserve to work hard for what we get. We deserve to not feel guilty if we're disabled. We deserve to feel not guilty if we don't want to fucking do a bunch of work and we want to vibe. But what privilege is it that we don't have to acknowledge where those resources came from? And that's not to guilt anybody. It's a reality. It's not to guilt people. It's a reality check. And when you decompress from that reality, you accept it for what it is, because it's never going to change. And the only way that we change collectively is if we change for ourselves. And we do that by getting rest, not feeling guilty, not feeling bad because we got conned into something, not feeling shame because we went down a really bad path and now we're stuck. Unless it deals with really harming other people, you got to wear that. You have to own that. You can't escape it. You get to learn from those lessons, because that is what your higher self is wanting. I asked King Belial in this. I've been deep into meditation on my spare time. And I ask him if our higher selves are up there, because I have astral experiences, and my higher self, I know who she is. I know names that I've had. I know who I am. And I know who Amber is. I know who I am as well. Does that make sense? And I ask Belial, what's the fucking point? If I already know that I want to do all these things, and I have the coding to do some of these things, and I can shapeshift in the astral, what is the point of this experience? Of all this suffering and all the nonsense? Why are we, I don't get it. And he says, because you won't understand the achievement of that. And that's the part of it. And it's not like this overachievement thing. He gave me like sort of an example, and I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger, like from his prime, like in the 70s, Gold's Gym Arnie. And if you ever watch documentaries on Arnold Schwarzenegger, you'll know that he was hella happy the entire time he was training, and he said that was his advantage over everybody else. He had already known he was Mr. Olympia. He believed in himself. He gave no fucks, and that's arrogance, but that fuels us at times, right? I'm not saying he's hella arrogant. I'm sure there's elements of that. I don't know him. But Belial said, what if you wanted to be like a bodybuilder and you can have that right now? All the muscles, all the everything. And I was thinking, okay, you wouldn't understand the feeling. You wouldn't have that energetic vibration within you to know what it took to get there. And I'm just like, okay, I get that. But that can be abused. You know, we hear that all the time. And he goes, because there's a spectrum to everything. Every energetic imprint that we have, we make something of it. There is a spectrum. There is a lazy side and a fucking toxic, arrogant side. There is a hardworking side. There is a freaking happy side. Happiness has a spectrum of toxicity. Sadness does. There's so many spectrums of things that we need to do, right? And it's exhausting thinking about it. You're probably like, bitch, shut the fuck up and smoke some weed. And I'm like, okay, I'll do just that then. But for real, it's exhausting to think about. It's not because you're stupid. You're tired. You are very tired. And you need to rest without guilt. And what happens is when we call back our energy and we don't feel guilty anymore, and it takes time, we get clarity. And then we get that kind of spark. Like, I really want to make this sort of design for some sweaters, or whatever it is your brilliant mind wants to do. Then you work through the fear of that. Oh, I'm going to share my art, and what if this is a big deal to me, and all for what, 5 views? You keep doing it. And then you, in a nice functional metaverse, the internet, you would be able to come and go as you please, make your profit. That still work for you. That doesn't work anymore. If you don't post on YouTube once every 60 days, it doesn't matter if you had a viral video 10 years ago. You're not making any money off of it. And if you are, they're taking 50% of a cut these days, with or without ads if you authorize them. So if you get a bunch of ads on my videos, I don't authorize them. I don't do any of, I don't get AdSense on this one anyways, but like, I don't authorize that. But in a good world, you'd be able to have that thing, that music video you made, and you can still profit off of it because people are giving their energy to it, right? They're listening to it. They're raising their vibration to your song, whatever it is. And you can have freedom with those resources to work on something else. But we don't, because we're told in society we have to replicate that hit single. You got to stick to this. You don't have to. You just be free with it. It doesn't matter. They have taught me so well that none of this shit matters. We give it meaning, and sometimes that can be very toxic. Belial tells me to share this with you, that the grandest elixir to the human spirit, which also can be one man's poison, is conviction. When we are convinced that we are right, we make that into a reality. We force it upon people. But we also don't know if it's actually right? Like somebody can say, I see the sky as fucking red. And they might see it because there's something fucked up in their eyes. And everybody else is like, bitch, it's blue. And then somebody's like, well, technically, that one guy, well, technically it's not, it's just a reflection off of her. And, you keep going, and that's the human experience because we're trying to figure all of this out. And it's exhausting to think about, but we're supposed to be focusing our energy on things that we want to create. We're gods. We have God's essence. I'm not talking about Yahweh and all these demi-war gods, but that is God's essence. And even God has a God. I think this is all like the fucking Fibonacci sequence, not to summon the Tool fans, so just pipe down. But I think everything has a pattern to it. It's just finite, and we don't have to make it such a big thing as well. We don't have to be like, oh, it's God. We don't need to disempower ourselves in order to have humility and respect for any entity that is greater than us because it has more expansion. It has a different technology. Like the angels and fallen angels, they're just different forms of advanced technology that have more advancements. They're just like really great gaming rigs, and you and I are like the first generation of the iTouch. Like that's what it feels like to me. It's the best explanation that I can give. But we are of gods because that iTouch was created because of people that some asshole stole the idea from. But in honesty, that's what we're supposed to be doing. I believe in currency exchange. I believe that we have to have something, but the way that our structure is set up, it's psychological warfare, which is spiritual warfare. And it simultaneously makes you feel like you have to work harder in order to earn reasonable living while being fucking stuck in freeze mode for your actual goals, for what your higher self wants to do. And then you feel guilty about it because you're tired and you feel lazy. Even though you might have disabilities, you might have issues and you struggle with addictions, you might have all of these things, you have to just acknowledge that and give yourself grace. That doesn't mean you have to just keep doing the behaviors, but that also means being realistic to understanding that it's a process to decompress from. Everything takes time. We have been rushed with the illusion of time in our matrix, in our vortex. I do believe that it's a matrix. I don't believe it's like how the movie says. I believe it's psychological. Because most of these issues are just exhausting our energy. And yes, a lot of these issues are very important. And they're a result of collective negligence and collective ignorance and a very few people who have the fucking code to psychologically manipulate the masses. And a lot of those people are religious people at the top too. There's a whole thing past the oligarchy. They're all Freemasons, they all do magic, they all do rituals because this is a playing ground. And it's all sacred geometry, and you utilize that sacred geometry as coding so you can attain the things that you want, because it's just energy. We know that, right? We there's coding when it comes to computer shit. Like we're also in a computer. We're also computers ourselves. But I honestly believe that because we're simultaneously guilted into feeling like tired, our higher self isn't able to do the things that he or she or they or whatever it is wants to do. I believe that we have goals and we have aspirations and things we want to do, and our spirit calls to us when we see somebody doing something we feel inspired, like, I really want to do that too. That's so fucking cool. I can. But you've been conditioned to feel like you're not good enough or you can't. I see it all the time and I don't agree with it. As an energy worker, this isn't just ego, because I struggle with ego for sure at times. But as an energy reader, as an energy worker, I see the spells that people cast upon themselves because they need validation, because they feel like they need reassurance that they're not pieces of shit or lazy, but they just don't know. But they'll say, oh, I wish I can do that, but I can never get some rest. Well, you're casting spells on yourself. You might not be able to right now, and it might be simultaneously a result of your own actions plus manipulation from everything else. but it can be temporary. And even the grief that you feel because of things that aren't temporary, that's temporary too. Those are learning tools for us, because there are moments and waves of peace. And when it's still, we don't thrive and ride with the stillness. We'll ride the wave, but we won't still with the stillness. And we feel guilty. Our energy is just running rampant within our own bodies. You lay in bed and your mind, I do this. I really struggle with it still. I'm laying down, unless I'm just passed the fuck out as soon as I hit the pillow, I'm just like, tomorrow I got it. It just goes on. I got this and that and 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 this and that. And it's just fucking never ending. It's a never ending list if you're a mom. And I'm not talking about weaponized incompetence either, because there's absolutely no fucking way I would ever put up with that. Sorry, ladies, but no fucking way. I would be in hell or in jail. But I'm so serious. It is our instinct to have to think of everything that needs to be going on. But then I think, what is really important tomorrow? Because I am cursed with being locked in on this visa and stuck on this 1/4-acre homestead in a very quiet area, in a very quiet country, far, far away from the fucking rest of the world. And I'm bitching? So I had to really rest and decompress and feel like I got to get back to the gratitude. I do feel gratitude all the time. I connect with this house. We're going to be here for another year. But I don't want to leave, but I love this place. It's temporary. I absolutely believe in having gratitude and being able to not feel silly about it or guilty for understanding that you're kind of addicted to whimpering at some point because you are just tired and you don't know what's going on because you think that this is normal. Does that make sense? Sorry, there's like a feather and it's just like coming toward me almost. It looks like it through the camera. And my camera quality is really lagging. I don't know what's going on with iPhones, but apparently in order to push the new ones, they're like dropping the quality sporadically. So that's been happening for my videos before I even upload them to the platforms. So I'm so sorry about that. I try to do everything in 4K and it gets knocked down to either 1080 or like 720 and it's nuts. And right now my imaging isn't looking like how it should. It's kind of going at a weird pace. Hold on. I just had to check the stats on I have my photography settings and everything's fine. It's just, I've been hearing rumors about that. But getting back to resting, when you start to decompress from that and you start to be in the present, you start to feel less guilty and you start to not feel as like you're running out of time. You're not feeling as rushed. We're so used to a fast-paced society now. And I understand it's annoying when you see people that live like hella well and they're in their fucking slippers all day. They're just walking around in their cozy linens and their pantuflas and they're just like, you just have to take time. And you're like, motherfucker, I was in traffic for like 2 hours this morning. You know, whatever the thing is, but that person manifested that. It's true because they believe they like you are entitled to that. You live however you want to. But you're entitled to have peace and sanctuary. You're entitled to expand that. And if you don't have that right now, it'll work. Please, listen, I'm still a work in process, but I am super telling you, there's so much shit I don't have to worry about, and I waste my time worrying about it, and then it makes the problem worse, or I just don't have movement in my life in certain areas. Because I'm so used to fight or flight and I don't stop and really like smell the roses and go, fuck, I am so grateful for this experience. I get to just touch the earth and touch these beautiful flowers and how a rose like feels when it's a cool morning and it's dewy and just the treacle from the post rain. It's like, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We take all of that code and what does that do? What does the earth provide? Clarity, and it provides a restful mind. It's like magic working without us realizing it. That's all it is. Like, we're very magical beings, but mysticism is like a big capitalistic selling point, so we have to make it into something more than it really is. But what it is just spectacular. This world is amazing. It's beautiful, but the systems that are set up, and it's not just about smelling the flowers and the fresh grass. It's about being able to create what your brilliant God essence mind wants you to. We came here so we can do shit, so we can understand ourselves more. Like, as I told you, what King Belial told me, it's so we can understand that achievement, the process of that achievement. You feel so good when you learn something, when you learn a new song or a new technique, or you taste a new food that you had to cook and you nailed it and you feel good and your vibration feels expanded. It's like it raises your vibration in that way. And I'm not really big on the whole high vibration versus low vibration in terms of good and bad, because I am very aligned with lower vibration frequencies and entities. And that doesn't mean anything bad or negative. It means that that embodies the lower vibration. We put those labels on things and then they become reality to us. We get scared of the dark, we get scared of the spooky devil, we get scared of God, and we got we decide that. Humans decided that that would be appropriate in order to control other people due to their own insecurities or due to power plays, all of the above. And these antiquated techniques are still affecting us after all of these lifetimes. I believe in reincarnation. I've said it before, I believe in reincarnation, and I think it's so important that we all have disagreements so we can navigate them, so we can discuss them and not have to like be angry at each other for it. Like, it's so fucking weird. Like, why would anybody care? Like, none of us know that we're right. And we're all operating off of either desperation or ego or comfort. It's, that happens with atheism. A lot of it's ego operated. Like, oh, no God. Even though you got like a C- in fucking bio, now all of these armchair experts know everything about science. And that's just me being an asshole. But in all seriousness, atheism is very vital, because people with that mindset, they will hyper focus on the blueprints of things. They hyper focus on the ration and the logic of what's needed in the world. But some of them just act like that's their whole fucking personality, because they need to grasp onto the little intelligence that they think that they have access to. When in reality, you have access to everything. You have to be able to deprogram your mind, though. And in order to do that, you need rest. You don't have to have everything figured out today or even in this lifetime. That's what I sincerely believe. I don't believe that we have to be a tragedy when we die either. I believe that it can just be what it is, and we can go with honor. We can do the best that we can, and we'll come back another round if our spirit wants that. But I get to know my higher self a lot more because of demonolatry. And I get to understand that life doesn't need to be as serious in the ways that we stress our energy on, but it needs to be cherished in the ways that we often don't. For those of you who are parents, you know how exhausting it is, especially given the economy and everything else going on and social media, and even having small children. I have small children, and it's like scary to think about being in the United States, because there's so many creeps that are like filming children these days. It's not as common here. I live like in a different world. Australia, first of all, can I say something off topic to the Americans that I keep seeing plethora of Americans that want to move to Australia because of everything going on in the US? You guys have no idea. This is not a mini America, and you are not going to be convenient living here. There's not a lot of convenience. There's not a lot of diversity in products. It's not, the overconsumption doesn't exist here nearly as much. My ear looks like it's on fire, and it's not even hot. So I just wanted to say that. And plus, the nature's nuts. Like, the nature really is fucking nuts here. And the people are amazing, but they're not going to put up with your, in America, entitlement. Okay, you got to be kind of down to earth. You got to be like how I talk. That's how Australians talk. They love me here because I hella cuss, and they do too. Everybody says, just throws the F-bomb like it's nothing. You go to the servo or the gas station, you're like, how's it going? And you're like, oh, it's fine today. How are you doing, sir? You're like, oh, she's fucked. And you're so used to hearing people cuss. It's amazing. But I just needed to say that as a side note. I see a lot of conversation, Americans like, I'm going to Australia. The visa process is a nightmare if you're an American and you're over the age of 30 and you have an actual fucking trade or career, because they want slave labor here. So you're not going to get the fucking green light. You're going to be waiting in line. Second, and there's a 63% rejection rate for the visa. So you're out like 10 grand right there. Second of all, it is so expensive. It's barbaric compared to the US. And that's saying a lot right now in 2025. But Australia is not a mini America. You're not going to have access to the same types of convenience, and it's going to be insanely expensive. Like, It's not the same. Trust me. Listen, I like food, okay? Can you tell? And I fucking love food. But this place is bullshit. Everything is so expensive and there's like 4 options. So you got to get used to things. I think that it's a bad idea that all the Americans want to move here. I'm gatekeeping this place. No, listen, I found fucking peace here. It's quiet. It's very expensive. And we're not like balling or anything like that. It's just the economy is nuts everywhere globally right now. It's not just in the United States. But I'm resting here, okay? I am going to rest. But yes, you deserve rest. In all seriousness, though, just please educate yourself and not assume that people are going to put up with American entitlement or bitching. A lot of Americans struggle with that. They go to another country and they think that people give a shit that they're American. I wasn't like that because I've been raised around a lot of non-Americans, okay? Like, I am 2nd and 3rd gen American, but like, I was put in check all the fucking time about how much privilege I had. So I knew firsthand that I had it really made as an American. And I have really good manners in public, so I don't start doing that shit. But I just see a lot of videos and things where people are like, in America, and this and that, and I bitched about there being no Amazon here. And there is now, and it's shitty. It's not like Amazon's tanking anyways. Everything's crumbling. But you're not going to get what you think you're going to get here. You're not going to get people wanting to deal with your fucking District 1 AmeriCorp bullshit. People here are very anti-America because they're anti-AmeriCorp and they're anti their country. They see it turning into that. So I don't know why I went on this tangent, but do what the fuck you want. In terms of people, they are amazing here. I'm not bootlicking, fuck everybody, but those Australians are such hard-ass workers, and they're so down to earth, and like, they don't care. And pronouns don't matter here, guys, okay? Nobody, unless you're in Melbourne or Sydney, and that's a fucking nightmare. Those places are kind of crazy. No one gives a fuck about this shit. Everybody just minds their own business, and you do what you do, and then you just live civilly. But I see people starting to snap here and starting to act like Americans, like Karens, and flipping the fuck out. It's a symptom of things. You don't need to take offense to it. Hold your energy, okay? When you see that sort of stuff, when you see that sort of stuff in public, if you're attracting it, like don't get involved unless you have to. I'm not one of these, none of my business. No, I'm telling you as somebody who had to be Robin fucking Hood all the time because some other people were getting into it. You won't attract being around it as much if you hold your energy. You'll have more peace. So I don't see a lot of drama. I see like videos and stuff, but I do notice that the less I feel guilty about my peace, the more inspiration that I'm able to gain. And sometimes that just means reading and catching up on my occult reading. Because in honesty, guys, I know I'm rambling a lot and I thank you guys for hanging out with me, but you would be surprised how many people, especially when my TikTok wasn't in like TikTok jail, where people were like, you're not posting consistent enough. And me. I have to like read and study and meditate, and I am very involved in my practice. I am very much so a witch. I am very much so casting spells often off camera. I live this. And then I do magic pretty much every day, but for real I do. But that doesn't mean that you have to, and that doesn't mean that you're less of a witch. My rituals can be anywhere from meditating and I cleanse myself and I meditate, or lighting a tea light and sprinkling a couple herbs on there, or doing a full-fledged fucking ceremonial ritual, whatever that is, whatever the intent is, alone or with others. It's a whole broad spectrum. There's different seasons and different experiences. You guys got to, when you do that too, you guys are exhausting your own energy and you don't know what to do with it. You're like, oh, well, I'm not doing that. I need to just put my crystals away. Like, I see practitioners making beautiful videos, and I've got shit that I'm working on behind the scenes that I feel comfortable and gaining confidence in sharing with you guys. And I see people in the comments going, gosh, I need to just put my crystals and my sticks away because I'm not a witch compared to this guy. That's not how it works. That's up to you. And that might be just the season in his life that he's doing something elaborate, you know? that doesn't mean that you have to get to that point. And that doesn't mean that if you want to get to that point because your higher self is screaming for witchcraft, that you got to do it right now. Chances are that practitioner, if it's authentic energy, took years to get to that point, let alone have the confidence to share. Because let me tell you, sharing your craft online, it's a vulnerable thing for a lot of people. It's very vulnerable for me. I don't share the half of it. I don't share a fourth of my experiences or my magic. And I think that it's good to have sanctity. I also feel like naturally and spiritually, I feel more comfortable sharing more. I'm going through, but I'm resting right now. And it doesn't have to be for a certain reason. It can just because you feel a calling to it. Your higher self is just wanting you to have that experience so he or she can understand that more. So your energy, so your energetic self, your spiritual self that roams free in this multiverse, and you're stuck here, your consciousness is here while you're awake until your battery, your vessel recharges at night or in the day. I miss day sleep, and fuck man, I love being up at night. But regardless of any of that stuff, your higher self calls for your spirit to do that. But when we're in this like spiritual prison system in many different ways, and we'll sit there and piss on the fire hydrant about who's got it tougher, who's got it this, who's got it that, chances are like most of us have it a lot better than most of the world, like that are able to just watch YouTube videos. It's crazy that in 2025 we are the top 10% wealthiest people in the world. We're blessed, and we don't feel like it because it's still fucked. My battery's running low. You don't have to compare yourself to other people. You don't have to compare your fucking spirituality, first of all. Social media is nuts with that, because we have just been programming ourselves and each other to just feel inadequate. And it drives me nuts as a spirit. I just, my like older aspects of myself, this primal, primitive, just fucking raging witch just wants to rip my goddamn head off and just kick it at people and be like, ah, just yelling the whole time, just like, stop it, like that's how mad I get, because I feel like I understand that my spirit understands like my worth, your self-worth. You deserve to feel beautiful. You deserve to be abundant. You deserve to feel free with yourself. And we don't need to be imprisoned by these psychological cages while these motherfuckers at the top are showboating and showing us how great their lives are, and then the celebrities that are under them that they psychologically brainwash into thinking that they're special do the same thing, and they don't even realize they're doing it. Most of those celebrities are under a hypnotic spell, outside of the ones who are actual witches, which a lot of singers are. And I'm not saying they're all corrupt and part of the Diddy system or any of that stuff. A lot of singers, sirens are pop stars. Hello, how would it not make sense? How would that not make sense? And a lot outside of some of those, so many of these like dense celebrities with no brain cells, they don't even fucking realize it, or they're being used as a vessel by other entities. I do believe that at times. I believe in embodiment. I embody myself with Belial, and that is a sacred thing. And I've done it once on camera on this platform. And let me tell you, I'll tell you something really clear. I feel intoxicated, and I am in the most pain with fibromyalgia afterwards. And it is a very, it's not because he's trying to cause pain. If anything, this is very seldom, and I do it privately. It's a very intense experience. But because I'm aware, I am also aware when it's happening. I come in and out when he's taking over. And I'm not talking about channeling. I'm talking about sharing my vessel with a very intense and a very strong primordial being who is very sensitive about that. Who isn't like, oh, it's time for me to play. It's like this synchronized thing that I know happens. And we both converse with each other through my body at times in terms of insight and wars that have happened. And I see these visions and I have these experiences. So I want to make it clear. I really feel like possession can happen amongst celebrities, but I feel like it's just the energy of that spirit. It's not, a lot of spirits. They're just chaotic energies. They don't have the same moral compass that many people assume that like angels and fallen angels have. They have a comprehension of our moral compass. It's the same way simultaneously how like we can have empathy for people who have really impoverished lives. Like all the commercials with all the little kids and they're starving and it's fucked up, right? But we still go to bed and we still get over it in a couple days once we're like over the trauma of it. And it's more about how it makes us feel than actually seeing that shit in the world. Does that make sense? And when you have that understanding, it makes you angry, right? It makes you like want to do something. You're like, this is not right. This doesn't sit right with me that there are children in the world that are hungry when I know for a fact that this world is very abundant. Sorry, there's commotion going on outside, so I can't control everything, but I try to make it like as the least amount of background noise as possible, so in case you want to have a nice enjoyable experience, you don't have to hear my aircon blasting in the background. But look, it's summertime here, okay? It's way too sweltering to be in a room without air conditioning in this country, and most rooms don't have air conditioning. That's another thing, Americans. There's not a lot of central AC in Australia. A lot of people here don't even run their air conditioner, and it's nuts because it's like 90% humidity and 4 billion degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit. It doesn't fucking matter. It's too hot to do anything. But anyways, as I was saying, when it comes to embodiment and like the sirens and stuff like that, I don't want to say that these spirits are evil and possessing them. I think that these people are ignorant and they're dumb in other areas. But that doesn't mean that they're not intelligent in their primordial state and with their talents, you know. But there is a lot of celebrities that are just fucking dumb, have nothing to do with spirit embodying them or their past aspects coming to life. They have just been told, just do this song and dance and bleach your hair and stay skinny and you are the most amazing, beautiful person on the world. And they're like, look at me, guys. Everybody wants to be me and wants to know what I eat for breakfast. And it's just fucking nuts. And then what do? We're like, wow. And we feel inspired by the dumbest shit at times. No shame. I'm not talking about artists. Like, I'm like a big fan of like Shirley Manson from Garbage. And I just could fangirl over her since I was a teenager. And like Bjork and all these like amazing women, you know, that dress so eccentric and are like, oh, fucking free with themselves and just witches. You know, I just love women. And I just love being a woman so much. And it's such a blessing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about all the dumb shit. All the dumb fucking faked ass marketing shit. All the vote for this person. I was paid to tell you that, but I do feel I'm talking about that shit. It's nuts. We're under a ton of spells. So the way that you break out of it, and this is what like Azazel and Belial in their own voices, their own ways, either silently or with words in my mind, tell me is resting and decoding from the guilt is the first step to evolvement and the first step of taking our power back. Because we are exhausted. Like, look at, I think I mentioned this earlier, but you know, like there's a big boycott on Coca-Cola. And I'm from California. I'm half Latin. And I come from a family of agriculture. And I was actually the first to not have to work in childhood on that side of my family. And I'm from a city that is predominantly agriculture, and like that's what it is. When I was a little kid, I used to live next to a lettuce field, and I used to take either chili or barbecue sauce or ranch from my house and go sit in the lettuce field and just eat lettuce because I thought it was free. And like that's when I was a kid and I did that, I thought how fucking beautiful this is. There's just lettuce everywhere, and like you might think that's gross, but like I'm telling you, in a cool climate, on a misty day, a fresh, crispy, cold iceberg lettuce plucked straight from the ground right into your lap and just peeled off with some delicious, smoky barbecue sauce. Bitch, that is like, you know you fucking know that sounds good too. And it does. I'm not even trying to hype it up like these bitches do. Like, oh, dates taste like caramel. Go fuck yourself. You are so full of shit with that. But on my life, That was like one of the best experiences that I had for a minute, until I was like told, no, stupid, you're stealing, you can't eat it. You don't go to the field and just eat lettuce. Like, go home and eat it. No, you shouldn't even be out there anyway. You should be doing your homework. You know, like, that's what I was told. And but yeah, like that's where I grew up, so I understand the whole complexities, right? But anyways, Coca-Cola has been boycotted, and as a result, everybody's buying Pepsi. And I'm sitting here like, they're owned by the same shareholders, guys! You know, and everybody's like, oh, well, you know, and I don't care what people do. I think the boycott's good, and I stand for that boycott, and I think that people need to make their own decisions. But if we're going to be fighting over fucking soda because soda represents bigger things, holy shit, we're not going to get anywhere, are we? We're not. By fighting, we can talk about things. We don't need to be angry. And anger is a beautiful energy, okay? I am not, don't you, yeah, how dare she tell me not to get angry? Fucking pipe down. Nobody even finished their sentence yet, and you're jumping to conclusions. I know this because I have to deal with people like this my whole life. And I was that sort of person too. But I'm telling you that we can't discuss it in a calm manner and get the facts straight. We operate off of emotions because we don't know what else to do, because we haven't been taught Gnostic fucking knowledge. We don't know what we are. We don't know, like, people don't know what this is. They think we're just here to do this shit. And just, oh, well, you'll make it if they bootlick all these billionaires like they're going to become one of them. Like, sir, they're not going to pick you, okay? It's always some pick-me guy, too, like just bootlicking Elon Musk. It's like, he's not going to pick you, sir. You're not going to automatically become a millionaire because you like this guy. We're human beings, and we have the capacity and the capability to fuck it all up the more energy we intake. And when you have popularity and money and resources, you start playing God, and that's what these people are doing. The problem is that we get emotionally invested, and that's fueling them even more. And Azazel taught me that. He said the more emotion that you're giving to any sort of entity, whether it's a political entity or a person or any sort of thing, we are feeding it and exhausting ourselves simultaneously because we want purpose. And that's where conviction comes in. As Belial has said, that conviction is a fucking poison and an elixir to the spirit. Because we simultaneously, we can create our own reality with conviction. We decide that's real. We create it. We are of God's essence. We are godlike beings. We just don't need to have God complexes all the time. We need to check it because we're learning. But simultaneously, we will fucking stand on business even when we're wrong if we are hypnotized. Religious people do that all the time. They won't even face their own fucking gods. And what do we do in the left-hand path or the witch cult communities? We will beef and spit fucking scriptures right back. I started my platforms on YouTube when YouTube first became a thing, and my thing was beefing with Christian boomers as like a 20-something-year-old. This was like the year YouTube started. I'm like, wow, I always wanted to broadcast myself. Let me fucking fight with people. But I found more community in the pagan and Satanism communities. I made friends. It was so amazing. And now these days, it's a pissing and popularity contest, and you're just fucking nervous about talking to anybody because people are so hypnotic that they think that shit matters too. And it's like, you dudes aren't getting that fucking point. What are you doing reading these books if you're just, oh, well, I can become a living God? I'm not trying to throw shade at people, because I know that there are people that say that that's their slogan. But in all honesty, what does that mean to you to become a living God? Are you chasing the fucking carrot of the glorious aspect of becoming a living God? Or are you doing the fucking dirt? Are you having stillness and peace with yourself when you feel chaotic within, and navigating that and decompressing? And then you have insight. That's where wisdom comes from. It's our own energy that we've collected from other people, our experiences within our own mind that we create. We create a lot of our own problems. And when we have peace, we don't want to rest because we're like, blah, 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 blah. It's all in there. We have to weed it out a little bit. No, it's okay. Do this. Do that to yourself. I do that. It's a tool. It's witchcraft. You take that out of your third eye. No, I'm not going to feel guilty because I'm exhausted. I'm a mother. I'm not going to feel guilty because I'm no longer cooking for millionaires when I wasn't getting anything for my output, my passion. I gave people my art and my passion and my fucking hard work and injury. I'm not going to feel guilty because I'm not doing that. You don't feel guilty for that. You weed it out. Transmutate that energy into prosperity, into your environment, to your room, to whatever it is. And rest into it. Disconnect from the rest of the world. Like, honestly, this is some advice, all right? Let me see what time it is. I'm like blind as a fucking bat, so I don't have my glasses on right now. This is what you do. Take a nice shower and imagine yourself cleansing the energy of the day. Before you go into your bed, have a clean body and clean linens, clean pajamas, your favorite jammy shirt or naked, whatever you do. If you can, I do smoke cleansing with mugwort and lavender. I also will place baby powder on fresh sheets and stuff. I don't do this every night. I'm saying when you're at that time where your mind and your body needs rest and you're struggling with insomnia and like a chaotic life, okay? This is not a ritual that I do every day. That would be exhausting. But this is like, you know, when you're taking your everything shower, you've got enough energy into you to do that. When everything shower, for those of you who don't know, it's when you do all your shaving, your body scrubbies, your facey masks, your scalpy scrubbies, all your extras. Because most of the time it's like a military shower for me. I'm in and out. I'm just like head to toe. I'm out, bitch. I don't have time for it. But I do that. I'll take a nice everything shower, put fresh pajamas on, do a smoke cleansing in my room. Fresh linens if possible. Sprinkle a little baby powder on them too. Baby powder is used in a lot of practices. You can use it for spiritual cleansing as well. These are all alchemized resources from the earth, you guys. Okay, they all have energy from them. It's not just earth-based energy. And then I also will play Hertz music. If you want to get into a deep sleep, you can look into theta Hertz, and those are like, 5 and below. I know there's a larger spectrum for theta waves to activate, but that helps with deep sleep. If you need to heal in terms of emotional healing or you have physical pain, 174 Hertz. And just play that on your phone, screen off. I keep the phone down too. It sounds very like too ritualistic, but these are black mirrors, you guys, all right? I like to either keep them off or I keep them face down if you have your phone with you. Ideally having that energy with you next to your bed's probably not the best. I'm not saying for your health. It's just all these other sciencey things that I can't unpack right now because I'm ignorant. But I do keep it face down, and I'll play Hertz at night, and it doesn't affect anybody else. And I sleep alone in my room most of the time anyways, but that helps me a lot. If you can have fresh air in your room, please air cleanse your room. It depends here because it's so hot, so some days that's not a reality. It's like 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Sometimes it's like 32 degrees Celsius or like in the 80s Fahrenheit at 4 o'clock in the morning. So it just depends on the time of year and what your climate allows. But absolutely some fresh air in the room, either overnight if it's safe to do so, or at least for like a 15 minutes, just open and air your room out, clean your environment and get some rest. And you can even do that just to like veg in bed and read. I'll read some books or listen to audiobooks and just be cozy. Have a nice meal, whether it's light or heavy, whatever your body's telling you that you would like right now, and don't feel guilty for it, and just give yourself some rest. You are supposed to be enjoying your experience here on Earth too. You don't need to just be working all the time and then frozen. I know what it's like to have that freeze. You get freeze with CPTSD and just with like ADHD, and I don't like throwing those terms around for every motherfucking aspect of my life, and some people just overplay it too much. But I do struggle with having that freeze. And I don't like feeling that way because I struggle with also needing to accomplish things so I can feel better about myself. And I've really decoded that the past like 3 or 4 years. But I got to get shit done. I've got a homestead. I've got kids to feed and everything. I take it slow. And I notice that on those slow days, if I give myself some fucking grace, I find myself getting going slowly. If it's applicable to your lifestyle. I live at home. That doesn't mean my life's perfect. I am a mom of autism. That alone takes up all of my time most of the time. And a lot of we call it in chronic pain talk, spoons. I don't know why they're called spoons, but everybody starts their day with a bunch of spoons. And when you give them out in different ways, you have no more spoons. And that's like a representation for pain. Because your pain can just be fucking at the forefront and you're like, I don't have it in me. that gets better with time. That gets better with meditation, with discipline. It really, I don't want to preach that. I learned this with Lucifer. I learned to be able to coexist with that. And I do have medicine to assist as well. But you don't need to do everything at once. What you need to do is give yourself some grace. You have it in you. Your higher self wants you to make those videos or to make that thing or to do this thing. You have to rest right now. And right now, the world is so scary and the world is completely chaotic and we're exhausted. If you've noticed on social media, we get a lot of shit with politics just force fed to us now. And it's to the point where, like, I really limit my time on social media. I struggle with, like, chronic loneliness. So sometimes that's my only outlet. I don't have a ton of friends online. I don't have communities that I'm a part of these days. I used to have like a decent, healthy social life, physical one and an online one, and then time for myself. Like, that's not where we are in society. And a lot of us are finding ourselves exhausted and isolated and frozen. And I'm trying to reassure you, for my spirit, my higher self, whatever that means to you, is just, it's just screaming to tell people it's okay to rest. You're not a failure. You are not a failure because you made some mistakes in your life either. You're not a failure because you made choices that you thought were right for you or yours and you got fucked over somehow. This whole thing is rigged. And it's breaking my heart when I see people like hate on themselves. And I understand that as an extremely ambitious person that kept their kids out of the system while simultaneously building a career and got fucking peanuts for it, and worked on my time off in Michelin rated restaurants so I can get experience because I couldn't afford to live in those areas. And I had kids, and I love having kids. I didn't know it was going to be that hard. I was a really young mom, and I just wanted a family, and I just married my high school boyfriend and had kids, and I wanted lots of them, and that's me. Trust me, I respect all people who say, I don't want no fucking kids. This system makes it hard, and you are not just put on the earth to breed. I love having kids, and I also love my space too, so I'm not one of those weird moms that has to be fucking up their kids' ass all the time. I want my kids to be free. I'm an Aquarius. I'm like, free, go be free. And I've got a bunch of earth signs. My daughters are both Tauruses, and they're just like, no. One's almost 22 and one's almost 5, and they're both like, no, we're staying with you at all times, and they're both my baby ducks. But I just wanted to clarify that because that can be a very unhealthy attachment that I see some parents struggle with, and I'm not dumping my trauma onto my kids in those ways. But I think that's a point too. Like, why does that bother people if you choose not to have kids? Like, as a mom, I can't take offense to that. I've never asked a woman, why aren't you having any kids yet? I don't get it. I feel like I can't fucking relate to any of this world anymore. Oh my goodness. And I know that so many people feel the same way because I've seen a lot of videos in the spiritual communities and witchcraft communities. And it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Like, I feel like nothing feels good anymore. And I know depression, I know what that is, all these things. I know people are going to start diagnosing me, but I don't feel good anymore with like even making videos sometimes, only because of the energy of the world. It's not even like me. I love creating and having the freedom and no longer worrying about what toxic people from my past that would just hound me and make threats and all these things because I just wanted to be myself. I don't have any of that worry anymore. I get to I'm today's my birthday, by the way. I'm 41 years fucking old. I don't need to worry about what people from my past think of me doing this or monitoring what I'm doing. It's like, that's the point. Why are you giving me your energy? You have been programmed to do that too because your spirit's screaming to do something for the haters. Because I get wandering, monitoring spirits and stuff. I don't go looking for it. My words will tell me, then something will pop up. Somebody will like or something on a comment or whatever. I don't need to go check my likes every 10 minutes. I don't need to go and do that. I'm in and out. But my magic fucking works. That's why I have a lot of peace in my life, you guys. And it doesn't mean that life is perfect. I cry, I grieve, I deal with grief because of death, like a lot of you guys do. I have my own shit. I have turbulence in my relationships. I have times where I want to scream into the pillow because of my adult kids. And they're like the best, most respectful kids ever. It's just I have a lot of responsibilities to prepare them for this shit. And I'm angry as a parent because I worked fucking hard so they can have even better opportunities. Like, I wanted to break every cycle for them. And for the most part, I did. The ones that couldn't be broken for me, because there was ones that were, I had to fucking finish it up. And I'm still working on that. It's nuts. These are systems that are set up for failure. And we can't be oppressed anymore. We can't be ashamed anymore. We can't be fighting with each other over dumb shit either. Like, I want to make that clear too. The fallen angels do not give a fuck about politicians, by the way. I see all of this kind of nonsense online. I think people are talking to their inner dialogue. I don't want to like judge people. I really don't, because I don't like restricting people's fucking freedom to be themselves, or I just want people to have the tools. Like, it's so weird. It's something in me is just like, maybe it's spiritual psychosis, but I just feel like I just wish people could understand that they are worthy. And I have this like blessing and curse where I see potential in everybody, and it sucks. Maybe that's just a narcissistic trait or something, like, oh, this is what you should do. I see fucking deep potential in humans that think so little of themselves. And then I understand why they think so little, because you might get to know them or whatever. It's not, this isn't working. And I just want people to understand, like, it is so absurd to feel guilty for needing to rest. It is so absurd to have to compare yourself to what other people are doing. There are seasons that I am restless. I'm a very restless, energetic person as it is. Even in a larger body, as a kid, ants in the fucking pants. Like, that's how I am. I'm still like that. I'm still, when I'm doing chores, I'm like, I'm just like, I can't just do the chore. I have to fucking do a dance. You know, I have a lot in me. But there are times where I am dead ass tired too. I wake up, I take a shower, I do the bare minimum, I'm with my little kids, and they're fed, they're happy, they're educated, and I'm going on my phone. Nothing needs to be fucking done. Everybody's an adult in this house. There's nothing needs my attention. If you can't find the fucking mustard, then you ain't getting mustard on your hot dog that you're gonna have to cook. You know, like, that's not unreasonable. And my family never, like, tries to treat me like I'm just here to be a subservient. I'm actually very taken care of, and my family's, I take care of everybody, but my family takes hella good care of me too. Like, they really do. So I was able to rest all day today on my birthday, and maybe not sleep in, but that's not really possible when you're a mom. Anyways, what the fuck is sleep? What is sleep? Because even when I'm dead, I'm still going to be restless. I'm probably going to, I know I'm going to come back here. I'm not happy with that. But being in deeper states of meditation lately, because I have some more time. I am so blessed with that. And you guys, please, that is something that with time, when you deprogram and reprogram, you'll attract it. Like, please believe in magic. I know a lot of people, they believe in magic, but they don't see it working for them, and it's just because you've been programmed for it not to work. There's other blockages. Shame can be those sort of elemental blockages within our own vortex, societal elemental blockages. I know I just made shit up, but, like, that's how I see it. And it frustrates me because, like, I have always attracted cool shit without needing to stress on paying for it. And I'm not talking about, oh, men are just paying all my things. It's not like that. But, like, most of the time when I travel, I hella get put to first class no matter what size I've been. As a kid, I get fucking knocked up to first class a lot, and most of my flights are comfortable, or I'll have, like, the whole row to myself most of the time. One time I fell asleep on a boomer's shoulder and I felt bad, but I had been traveling for like 32 hours and I felt super, and then he bought me coffee. I was like, well, fuck, sir. Like, look at it. Like, I didn't mean to fall asleep on your shoulder, but this is moving too fast. But he was like a nice grandpa. He wasn't a weirdo about it. I woke up and I was like, I went like this. And I woke up when the plane landed because it was just like a puddle jumper for my last stop until I got home. And I was like this, and we woke up and it's like, we will be landing soon. I was like, sir. And he was just looking at me like, no, 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 it's all right. You didn't bother me. And I'm just like, hoping I don't see a fucking boner or something. I'm just like, freaked out. But like literally this dude was like the nicest grandpa. And I was like 30 or something at the time. And I felt really bad because how impolite. I was like hoping I wasn't snoring or anything. And he was like, no, you just nodded off for a bit. And it's like a very short flight. And then he bought me a coffee from Starbucks, and I thought that was really nice. So that worked out for me. I got a free coffee and the safety of a stranger, I guess. But that was like the closest that I don't know how closer you can get when you're traveling. But that was like the worst of my experiences. I've seen people beef on planes. I don't even need to be talking about this. This has nothing to do with anything that's important to you. But the whole fucking context is the majority of the time, without even thinking about it, I just attract space and I attract abundance in those ways. And when I'm hella stressed on it, that's when it starts dwindling away. And then what happens? There's systems that are set up too to where you come up, oh man, I got an extra $400, but then your tires fucking pop. And you're like, really? But look at the paradigm in that. You're like, well, those tires were bound to go. Or maybe that tire popping right then and there was like divine intervention. And that sounds like delusion. It really does. Like you're trying to avoid the reality that shit just fucking happens. But I believe that those things parallel with the spiritual. And I believe that it's like kind of ridiculous when you come into extra money and then something happens that now is going to take that extra money and you feel like it's a loss because you just had extra. But in reality, you can see it any way that you want to. But why not just be neutral about it and then just try to look at the positive and then accept the negative part of it without feeling emotion involved? Like that's the hard part, isn't it? Because this is so easy to say and so easy to just sit here and start fucking bubbling and preaching, acting like I know how to do it perfectly, but it takes time. I'm telling you though, I do operate like that. And maturity with age and wisdom and all of these experiences happen too. Just let it happen at its own natural pace. You don't have to have it all figured out. But the first step is for you to get some damn rest and to treat yourself and not worry that there are things that maybe you can't afford right now that you once were able to, because listen guys, I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news here. But I genuinely believe we are in a big spiritual war that's been going on for like 4,000 years, and we're hitting like a checkpoint right now. And I believe that parallels with the spiritual wars that also bleed into being profitable war businesses that bleed into fucking the rest of our lives up. And I'm telling you, as somebody who is kind of a World War II nerd, everything's aligning up for this to happen. We're in a depression as it is. Our grandfathers and grandmothers were told that there's nothing to worry about when that shit was manufactured. It's going to hit its peak. My two eldest, I talk about this all the time, study economics, and they know exactly what's projected to happen. And we're already in World War III. It's going to really hit at some point. I don't know how hard it is. But what I do know is right now is not the time to fight, because these systems are simultaneously exhausting us mentally and physically. We are working more than ever right now. Plus, we are mentally drained. Our decompression time doesn't even exist anymore because you can't watch a fucking Netflix show. I don't have Netflix, but you can't watch a show without having more ads, and it costs more, and the quality of the shows are bad, or it's more propaganda, and it's more this, it's more political and social bullshit. And then you go on social media and you want to watch your favorite streamers or your favorite supers, and all of a sudden they're like me bitching about shit in the world, or you're just seeing a ton of political news and you're exhausted. That is manufactured so you will be exhausted. Because then what's going to happen is you'll be sideswiped and fucking flanked, and then we'll be falling on our faces, starving and fucking in turmoil. And I'm not saying we're going to get to that point. I'm saying we need to rest, because I feel like we're going to have intellectual, spiritual, and physical fucking fights ahead of us. I don't think we're going to be running and gunning World War II type of war. We have so much sophisticated technology. They don't need to waste the manpower at this point if it's going to be that big. Like, unless they want to, and they can just make it happen. And I know that we're going to thrive. And I don't want to see people feeling scared anymore. And that's because you need to rest. You're not going to be scared in this. You are strong. You have been through so much shit already in your life. And I'm not trying to be one of these fucking content creators that has to turn on the camera and be like, with sad music, I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't give a fuck about the views or any of this stupid bullshit. What I care about is people believing in themselves and us just existing neutrally in society so we can evolve as a species. Because we're going through evolvement right now. And with the evolvement is devolvement. We're seeing people be dumber than fucking ever. We're seeing people turning some wheels, but something's not happening. And that's good. At least there's wheels to turn. Because some people, like you guys already know, it's not to be rude, but there are some dumb fucking people and it'll scare you straight. You're like, holy shit, that could have been me. I've thought that, and that can lead to problems like narcissism. But you know what I mean. I'm not talking about people just kind of dumb. I mean some dumb fucking people. That could have been me. That's scary. That could have been me. You know, and I'm sure that could be other people's perspectives of me talking about the demons and how amazing they are. People, it's like we create these realities. But the reality that you need to create for yourself is sanctuary, okay? You have sanctity within yourself. It is a blessing that we can even discuss witchcraft openly for many of us. A lot of my audience can't. There's some of you guys, I will never expose you. I will never ever, even if you're an asshole, I would not do that. That's against my fucking code. As a witch, as an energy reader, I don't care how, I'm trying to be something. I'm an asshole. I'm a fucking asshole, and I will do you dirty if you fuck with me and mine. And you do me dirty, and you get past me, and my ego gets inflicted by that, holy shit, I'm coming for fucking blood. If you try to do me dirty, I'm going to stop it in its tracks and you're just never going to hear from me again. But it just because somebody's annoying doesn't mean I would out them. So I want to have reassurance for that. I would never do that because for some people it's a death sentence to even watch these videos. I've had people tell me that. And I'm just like, it puts things in perspective for you. We have a privilege with that. And I hate preaching privilege because that gets thrown around way too much. As someone who's got non-white and white folk family, everybody fucking struggled. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, I'm going to take a toki and I'm going to draw some cards for you. I always take one for Belial too. And sometimes Azazel. Lucifer's not a fan of cannabis, and a lot of people told me similar. I feel like Belial will say yes to any drug, to be honest. So anyways, I'm really feeling like, first of all, if you feel like none of this matters to you, don't. I've got the Four of Swords. I literally got the Four of Swords. Rest. That's a rest. That literally means to rest, to decompress. You need to call back your energy. Your mental energy. Stop giving people your energy, you guys. It's currency. When you're thinking about people from your past that no longer have shit to do with you, you're giving away your energy and you'll be exhausted when you could be doing what? Something nice for yourself, or even having a nice meal, or cooking something simple that doesn't take too much energy if you're tired, or just taking a bath, or playing a video game, or watching a movie, or rewatching one of your favorite series. You can rewatch things. I used to be like this, very like, I can only watch something once and I gotta move on. And I'm like, no, I've been thinking about rewatching Breaking Bad lately. And then I was thinking about watching Better Call Saul because I never got around to it. Because I'll go through seasons with watching TV. Anyways, enough about me. But you got the Eight of Pentacles and you got the World, all right? The Eight of Pentacles, that is like completion. That is like your purpose. You're not necessarily your finish line, but you're on that way. And there's not really a finish line, but like you're in your vibrational vortex. You are focused when you do like deep work, when you're in the zone. That is what Eight of Pentacles always resonates with me. It's like that completion in terms of I feel fulfilled. I finally get to do the things that I want to do. Right? And then you have the World. There's changes. There's shifts that have to happen. You've got the Two of Wands in reverse. That's the conflict. To me, that's spiritual conflict. That's kind of inner turmoil, or it can also be like disagreements amongst people. But that really feels, for me, in this case, for you guys, spiritual disagreement within yourself. Like your higher self is like, you gotta rest, but then your inner dialogue is like, oh, I feel guilty, I'm lazy, I'm too this, I really gotta go to the gym, I really need to quit this job, but I don't want to think about the other one. It's okay. Please listen to yourself. Unless like your situation is in dire straits, you'll be able to rest when you get through those crises. But even in dire straits, outside of like life-threatening circumstances where your attention is needed and you can't take a 10-second break, you'll be able to breathe when the situation's done, when the CPR is done and the patient survived, then you can breathe a minute, right? But most circumstances aren't like that. But we have been programmed to feel that sense of urgency, and that's just to get us little NPCs working harder. That's all it is. So the Two of Wands in reverse is that inner dialogue. Stop battling yourself and challenge it and do this and just take it out or take the air out. I was always taught to do that towards somebody if they're stronger than you. I had a relative who was a psychic and was a fighter, and he would tell me all of the time, because I was always beefing with people and I was like a little fat fucking loud kid, and there's always bigger bullies and I would always get my ass kicked, but he taught me like psychological warfare, and you go to somebody and tell them that you just sucked the soul out of their ear. And and I'm serious, and I used to hell laugh, and I miss my family members so much. Most of them are passed. But you're actually blowing out when you do that. So I do that in my practice, and I also do that with my own energy. If I'm feeling a buildup of like doubt and of dumb shit, and when you do that, you transmutate it back into your vortex into something positive. This energy will be free. I release it with the intent for prosperity or protection, whatever you need, for clarity, for glamour, for youth, for whatever you need. For whatever you feel that you need. And don't think about it. Don't do this shit either in the mirror like, oh, I'm getting older, I know what it's like. Fucking accept it and be okay, and you will start to feel good and vibrant. You'll have energy, you will rest, and then you'll be like, oh, I'm going to learn about these supplements, or taking some moringa supplements, which I highly recommend, because that's the tree of life, and that is the youth serum. And I'm not looking for compliments or anything. I'm getting older, and it's fine. But I know that because I have a restful mind, when I put effort into that, my body will kind of heal on its own, and I'll feel like I'll look younger in the mirror. Because listen, I'm going to be honest. Some days I look in the mirror and I look fucking like I'm 5 lifetimes. I'm like, who the fuck is this bitch? Once you hit like your late 30s, you start noticing signs of aging, and you're like, who the fuck is this crone? But then there are days I'm like, I feel fresh face, and I feel like I got a little collagen plump in my cheeks, and I'm happy to go, It depends on where you are mentally, because that will then reflect what goes around physically, what you attract or what you do, how you feel when you're eating food, whether it's good for you or not. Feel good and rest and treat your energy like a billionaire treats his money. Like, treat your fucking energy like these greedy, babbling, jiggling billionaires treat their fucking money. They're stingier than all of them. Rich people are hella stingy. For those of you who are rich or been around rich people, you'll see how fucking quick people are greedy. Like for real. So anyways, I'm going to pull High Priestess. You got the High Priestess. That's your higher self. The High Priestess is your intuitive self. That is... Think of like how if you're playing like The Sims, if you guys play video games, you're like controlling, for the most part, what your character's doing, right? What they're going to look like, what they're going to experience, everything. Because you get to understand it. And you'll play characters. I want to play Sims so bad. I'm just busy and my computer's broken, but I want to make like the Infernals and how they look to me. And I've had this idea because I have a gaming channel that I don't use. But I have too much going on right now. But I thought, how cool would it be to make like some occult type of things in a very respectful way, with permission, and people are really uptight about stuff. I am not disrespectful, but you can't tell me that it wouldn't be fun to see like Loki or Belial just free to roam in The Sims, because some shit would fucking happen. Because I genuinely believe they will understand that coding too. It's all coding, guys. This is all not as serious as we have to make it. That doesn't mean that you have to be nonchalant about death. That means you have to understand the waves of grief and what those lessons can teach you, and you get to have the honor of moving forward, and they have the honor of not having to suffer. It's a hard thing to try to process. But when you take your energy back, the chariot is all about moving forward. When we are depressed, that's not on you, you know what I mean? But we have to also have the courage, because depression, think of it like as an egregore within us, and it starts telling you you're not good enough. And what happens when you're not good enough? You don't have it in you to beef up to that. You're scared, you're tired, because all you're told is the same thing. You got to challenge it and say, that's not true. Even if you don't believe it, that's not true. That's all you do. That's not true. I'm not fucking lazy because I want to rest. I'm fucking tired. This shit's bullshit. That doesn't mean that you should spiral with that energy and go, oh, I'm going to keep doing the same shit that's fucking me up. Like at some point, especially in Western culture, when it comes to indulgence, we have to we have to understand why we're justifying it and give grace for that. But then also find a balance. You know what I mean? Not because of any food culture or bullshit, because it's just not helping us. It's not helping us. It's not making us feel the way we're supposed to feel. It's fine to go have a fucking cheeseburger. Bitch, get some onion rings too. Look at, just because I lost weight and I'm still in a deficit and it super sucks, doesn't mean that I don't like to fucking throw down and eat, alright? I'm all for it. I'm not going to sit here and play that game because I think I got my shit together now. Everybody else needs to stop. I tell my kids, no, you don't want to deal with obesity at all. I'm so sorry. I want people to feel good about themselves, and I absolutely felt fabulous and dressed up, but you don't want to have that to deal with because it fucking sucks. But on the side note, I like to eat, so I'm never going to say don't eat, but you know what I mean. Sometimes you'll be around people that are just so engulfed into the matrix, and they'll do nothing but justify having no self-control because they feel shame because they don't even understand why they're in that situation. They're too busy working and giving energy to everything else. They're giving energy to their boss or to some bullshit fucking job. They're giving energy to some coworker that doesn't like them. They're giving energy to the asshole that's beeping and honking in traffic. They're giving energy, waiting in fucking line to all these people that are annoying them because they're just simply there too. We don't realize that we give out our spoons by doing that, like our energetics, our wands. Maybe we'll start something. I'm not gonna do that, but you know what I mean. We do though. It kind of works, but it sounds so cringy. But maybe it doesn't. But you know what I mean. So we have to let go of that. We have to let go. You got the card of anxiety, and the moon is a double-edged sword because it's often associated with no. It's often associated with anxiousness, no, warding off. I can't do this. But it's also the moon. And what is the moon? The moon is spirit. The moon is a reflection of the night. It gives illuminating essence. What is the moon? The moon is a reflection of the sun, and it beams that energy in its own transmutatable way onto earth. It gives it rest. It has a gravitational pull as well. It has all of these hidden aspects, but all we do is say it's just a big old dumb fucking rock that makes us anxious because what if it falls from the sky and lands on us? You know, imagine if we didn't have the knowledge from the fallen angels, so many people would believe that once moons became a thing, because we didn't always have a moon. But the moon isn't just a big no. It's not a big anxious energy. It's telling you it's a pause. And when you have all of that energy and you're stuck and you're frozen, you get to be still and you get to just focus on that energy in your vortex. What I see as a visual is imagine a sphere around you. I always visualize this permanent sphere around me because I just want to stay in my own bubble, to be honest. But when you're anxious, imagine all of your energy just like one of those, what are those balls with electricity you put your hands on? Those were always really cool. But imagine just your whole body's around it, and it's just and it has nowhere to escape. So you're just frozen. You're like, fuck. What you do in that sense, and the moon really calls to this, is you stop and you focus on the patterns of those energy sparks, on those lightning bolts within your vortex, and you try to study them. And then you realize that there's a core source to that energy within you, right? That it's coming out from. And you can just call it back because it's yours. It doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know how to leave because your physical body and your mental bodies are very tired. But you still have an energy field. This is like science. This is shit that people are figuring out. This is also Gnosticism. This isn't just woo-woo shit. We get frozen, I believe, because we don't know what to do with it. And if we focus our energy on calling it back in, because we're like, I'm anxious, I gotta get a coffee, but I'm scared to talk to this person, and this guy's cute, and blah, 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 and blah, this, and 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 this. And we're just like, none of this is important. When you're stuck in that vortex, like the moon is still, right? The moon, she is still, and she is quiet, and she's calm. And the man, the sun, is just loud and fucking burns you alive and hot. I'm just kidding. But sorry, I'm just tired. It's just collectively women are getting sick and tired right now of the masculine because everybody's broken and we want everybody fixed. And the women are broken too. The divine feminine's broken. And the divine feminine really depends on the divine masculine to be like with their shit together so we can thrive. And the divine masculine needs us to have our emotional shit together so the masculine can thrive. And right now, nobody has their shit together. So please, this is not an attack on any gender or anybody who's in between and you identify as a fucking moaning ghost. Whatever the hell you do, just be free with yourself. It's okay. But just get some rest. Because if you're doing that too, like for people who are tripping off of their pronouns and everything, look, this has nothing to do with invalidating people who do pronouns. I personally don't give a shit because I don't even live in a country or a place where that shit exists. But I also I see it on a spiritual level, like, okay, I get what they mean. But who the fuck cares? Just do your job. You're more than that. And when you believe in that, and yes, if it's important for you, fight for it. It doesn't matter to me because I don't care. I'm not even in society anymore. I am literally on my way to being a fucking wicked witch in the woods. Like, I'm literally on the path and I'm happy. Leave me the fuck alone, okay? I'm in a season. I tell my kids, you go be free, do whatever you want. When I have extra money, you can have it. Do whatever the fuck you want. We'll do it. But please just understand that I'm not trying to be antisocial. I'm in a season of my life and I'm enjoying it. And I know I got to get out of it at some point, but just I need some rest. I needed peace. I needed healing. I needed to fucking figure my own shit out. And now I'm finally getting to this place in my life where I feel happy and I feel content, I should say. It's not about happiness. It's about contentment. Why? Because I feel confident. It's not because, oh, I did this and I do that. Those are parallels that come as an aftermath of your output, right? Your energetic output. It's because I fucking rest and I deserve to do that. I deserve to enjoy a comfortable couch and not feel guilty for it. I deserve to be grateful and have an abundance of a certain type of fruit or produce and not feel like, oh gosh, I have it's even gardening will parallel with that, with magic and with your life. Like for real, the less that I do, the more abundant my garden grows. For real. I was watering too much because it's 4,000 degrees in Australia and the sun is just fucking screaming all day long and shit will dry out. But I also learned that if you water too much, your plant roots won't have the ability to struggle for water and grow, right? So just do less and then let everything around you kind of do its job because you're trying to fix things too. That's like metaphorical too for me because I've always been trying to fix people. How stupid. I know so many women are laughing. Just don't. Okay, trust me, like, between us girls, I tell my daughter, I say, you get your fucking money straight. You don't have to say shit to anybody. And don't you ever try to fix people. Don't you ever give all of your love to somebody. And they'll get comfortable with it. And tell you everything you need to hear. You better validate yourself. Whatever I fucked up, I'll fix now. But holy shit, it's scary. So, I'm saying, even in the divine feminine, for those of you who are in touch with your feminine aspect, doesn't matter if you're a woman or not. I am in touch with my feminine aspect. I've always loved being a woman, but I've had to be forced to operate in my masculine, and I had to learn divinity within the masculine aspect of myself as well. And I'm still trying to find that balance between them. I'm a woman. I don't claim to be a they, that, them. Whatever you do, if you want to be a fucking poppy seed, just do it. Just shut the fuck up already, please. Because you're exhausting your own energy by screaming about something that doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, if you feel a certain way about yourself, nobody can disempower you by that. You disempower yourself by demanding the collective to take you serious. You don't demand, you command. And you command by showing up for yourself and being worthy. And it's so hard. It is so hard I feel so fucking guilty when I'm taking it easy. I have 2 adult kids that study from home, and I have them for like 3 to 4 hours a day. And most of the time, we have a big inflatable pool, and they just hang out with the little ones while they're swimming and eating popsicles, and everything is fine. Nobody's tripping. And they're like, Mom, go and rest. You don't get enough sleep. The house is done. The homesteading's done. And I'm like feeling guilty. Even though I eat meals with my kids, and, you know, my older ones, we have a really good relationship, but they're like, Mom, the 2 little ones are good. I'm always around when they start throwing a meltdown or whatever. I'm involved immediately. I don't go out often, but I still feel guilty. I have a partner who is far from perfect, but never makes me feel ashamed of needing rest or like, my family is so good with that. And I still feel guilty, you guys. I don't want my kids to like take care of the little ones all the time, because I've had a lot. I'm an only child, but I've had a lot of people get stuck in that. I always took care of all the kids in my family, but it was never like I had always had a life of my own. I always babysat. I loved kids. Anyways, I always wanted to be a mom, and that's so cringy to some of you. And you know what? I fucking love you for it. Please, it's stupid me. No, I'm kidding. My kids are actually really awesome, but I have all of that in my environment, and that's a blessing, because a lot of people don't. And it eats me alive. I feel like I'm failing because I'm not there, or I'm not doing this, or what if I'm burdening my older two? The older two are like, Mom, we're fine, we're happy. They just hang out and laugh anyways, and the 2 are splashing around, and everybody's having fun, and we have a big ass backyard and tons of fruit, and I'm still sitting here feeding that energy because this system wants to siphon that from me, and wants me to feel like I still got to do something to compensate. And then for what? To fall into depression, to fall into inadequacy, to fall into hustle culture again, because I got to find myself. Find yourself, for sure. As a parent, as a mom especially, you absolutely need things for yourself. I am not just a mom. I have never been that person. I've always had my own thing going on in my personality. I've just simultaneously figured out in a most exhausting manner without a village to do both. And that's not a flex. That was like it was needed. It's not a flex. But I have such a really good family, and I'm always taken care of in those ways. And it's barely been as of recent where I'm starting to not feel guilty for it. That doesn't mean I'm feeling entitled, or it's going to be all the time, all day, every day. I'm very grateful that I have a family that wants me to pursue my goals and make creative videos and make money. That's what it is. But no, in all seriousness, it's not about that. It's about also having a social outlet and doing something that I actually just feel comfortable doing. And you feel restless because you feel ashamed, like, well, I don't have a big social life, and all of my hobbies are at home right now, and I'm very active and I'm very fulfilled. And I'm learning and expanding, but gosh, man, I just need more than that. I'm so lonely, and you don't want to use this as a tool for that either. You find balance, and it took me needing to rest to realize and accept I needed that time. And I needed time in solitude, because I've always had the options. I've always loved my solitude my entire life. I wish that I had a sibling growing up to like play video games with, or chess or something, and just to hang out, because like my 2 eldest, I say it often, they are such best friends and have been since they're kids, and my 2 younger ones are the same now. And it's dope as fuck, because I always wanted that for myself, and I'm like, that's so cool, I'm so happy. But I don't need to feel guilty. Everything's fine. Life is still. If your life is chaotic, right? It's okay. There are times where it's not. There are seasons where it's very chaotic. Trust me, guys, I just got out of like the past 4 or 5 years of my life have been the busiest, even though I haven't been working. Like, it's just all of it, right? It's just everything has affected everything. And I'm barely getting to this point where even though I wake up very early every day, I'm able to rest more, and I'm not feeling guilty. You get up, you start attracting it. You start attracting it, whether you're already staying at home or working from home, or you're at work. You will start to notice when you allow rest for yourself, your workload will be easier at work, be less drama. Some asshole will get fired or move, or like, for real, give it a few months. like a few months. In the meantime, you will start to feel better. You'll start to get your energy back and that pep in your step. So the more that you do for yourself in terms of resting and self-care, just slow days or slow moments, right? Even if that means getting something extra for your lunch break or just decompressing from like high stressful, high energy music. I know this sounds goofy. I am a fucking super metalhead. I'm annoying about it, dude. And I'm not saying, oh, you can't listen to music, but I have been like decompressing from even listening to my favorite music just for like a few days, just being in meditation, listening to meditation, just instrumental Hertz healing music. That doesn't mean that I'm never listening to my favorite bands again. Like that's not happening. But you kind of decompress from all of the extra energy and the extra spells cast, the extra Hertz, the extra words, the extra emotions that are provoked from those songs. They're not evil. It's just in order to be able to handle them and utilize those tools to your benefit, whether it's motivation or inspiration or sadness because you want to pull something out of yourself, you still need a rest from that. For me, it's been about deep stretching, not being as restrictive on my eating plan. I'm still active, but I'm not gung-ho at the moment because I'm always like, fucking get it, you know? I am taking time in my morning. I'm not just jumping up and getting 4,000 things done like I work at home like I did in kitchens. It's nuts. And I don't want that. I want calm. And as a result, there's less chaos in my vortex. There's less tantrums with my kids. I don't really deal with a lot of people, but there's less nonsense. There's less mishaps in the mail. There's less crap going on. There's just less junk going on. And my social media is a bit more peaceful because I am not engaging in certain algorithms and certain conversations right now. It is okay. You don't need to feel guilty when there's like bad things going on in the world and you're exhausted to speak up. People get mad at Latinos right now who aren't speaking up about deportation and things going on. And I think that's up to each individual. I think that being a witch is very political. Being a witch alone is very political. And I am a very, very front row sort of speaker. Like to the point where I've even played with the idea of getting into politics. I'm like, maybe in my 50s. Because I'm that type of person. I'll go and think about it and then I'll come back to it years later. It'll lead to that. That's how my life has always been. Like everything that I've set out so far, I've achieved. And guess what? It doesn't mean shit. You're still fucking miserable at the end of the day. So you see those as tools. You have experience for yourself now. It's not about the title or the reward. The reward is I accomplished that. I understand this. I know how to cook. I know how to navigate. I know how to deal with intense people, blah, 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 blah. And then you move the fuck forward with your life and you do something else that's appealing to you. Or you have a season of just being what I like to call is an aspect of mine, is fatso catso. And fatso catso, that bitch likes to just eat and watch movies and take baths and do fucking nothing but have the air conditioner on way too low and a ton of blankets and the house has to be dark with like scented candles lit and I'll get everything clean and everything's done ahead of time. But that is fatso catso, and that's just, and I give myself like names for different, not personalities, but just aspects. I'm like, I'm not just confined to Amber. Like you even like if you guys notice, just to use myself as an example for your own life, so you don't feel so restricted too, and like, oh, I want to do this. Like the kitchen occultist, that's an aspect of me, and then the rook, when I'm really like locked in, that's an aspect of me, right? It's not, I'm still the same person, and it's different times of the day and different things that are going on. It's not fake. It's not performative. It's not, sometimes it can be for projects, performative, premeditative, that synchronizes with your magic and with your actual feelings you're trying to express. That's art. But what I mean is like, we don't have to be so limited. And that comes with rest, okay? And I'm not like this big success story in terms of the world. And if I were, I honestly feel like I don't want to give a shit about it. Because it fucking nauseates me when people just, oh, well, I will have made it. I'm really talking about this on a spiritual sense. I feel like I know who I am now. And it's because of Belial. It's because of Azazel. It's because of Lucifer. As a woman, Ama Lilith really works with me to feel okay with feeling beautiful. I felt guilty and ugly my whole life because that's what I was told a lot. I was told I'm too fat, I'm too white, my nose is really big, or I'm not white enough depending on where I am. I am told a lot of things. My hair's wild and untamable, and I'm loud. I'm not loud like in public, but I'm loud when people get loud. I get shamed and sexualized, all of these things. Even like to this day, like on these platforms, people will like just creepy sexualize you, and you're just trying to exist. And she works with me on that inner divinity with empowerment with oneself. And it's about protecting, and she teaches me about protecting my peace as a woman who is navigating the actual divine feminine. Because I've always been girly. Can I say something real quick before I go? And this is a bit off topic. I'm not going to police what people say. But it's very odd when people assume when you lose weight that now you're glowing up and now you feel like you're worthy of dressing up. Honey, you didn't see me before I had 2 small children. Even though I was the same weight, I still dressed up and took care of myself, and I always wore makeup. I live in a very expensive country, and we're in an economic crisis on one income, and I can't afford $1,000 worth of makeup at the moment. So I don't have all of these unique things, so I make my own, or I get things little by little. And when it comes to clothes, I'm in between sizes every 6 months, so it's like difficult. But I wish people would stop thinking that when somebody is of a certain caliber of weight, that they're undeserving or they feel undeserving. And sometimes that can happen at any weight, of enjoying beautiful things or feeling beautiful or feeling fabulous or feeling like a fucking diva, whether you're a man or a woman, because I've always known my own power. I just exhausted myself along the way. I've always been a spiritual woman. I've been a witch most of my life. I just lost myself for a few years due to tower moment after tower moment, and a lot of people went through that. During the season where Pluto was declared not a planet, so many people went through spiritual purgatory. So many people went through spiritual purgatory, and then as soon as it's declared again, people start awakening up. Look into it. From 2006, and I think it was 2020, did Pluto become a planet again? Somewhere recent. People were in spiritual purgatory. Witches weren't practicing witchcraft. All of these things. Not the whole time, but at certain chunks. It's not about the weight. The weight was just trauma, and I like to eat. But please stop saying that people are glowing up because now they feel confident because they're getting into a different body, a smaller body. That has nothing to do with it. I have more options. I am in between a 14 and a 16 at the moment, Australia, so I don't even know what that is in the US because I just forgot. But it's more options. I'm not a size 24 anymore. And a size 24 deserves to wear fabulous things and it not be 4,000 times the fucking price as somebody who's a size 8 or 10 or something. But what I will say with that is during that sort of transformative period that I'm still on that journey, this has been like a 2-year long ass hard failing and succeeding journey. And I'm building muscle right now and it's hard. I'm struggling. It's really hard. I have a blessing in that. I'm learning discipline and I'm not saying that you have to do that. I'm learning like almost when I'm fasting, I might just do tea and bone broth certain days because my body's not hungry. It might be anxiety, it might be stress, hormones as well. Sometimes my hormones make me so fucking suppressed of an appetite, and then the other days it's the complete opposite, bitch. Okay, I want to snort a fucking line of burritos. Like that's how hungry I get, especially before my cycle. I do eat. Listen to your body. Listen to what it needs. Like for real, I do. I have been taking that time to get back to my original point, to eating intuitively so much more. So I do high protein, but I also have days where I want a big fat fucking chocolate chip cookie. I'm just gonna not have 3 of them. I'll have 1 or 2 and I'll put some peanut butter, or I might have something with it. Like I make like frozen yogurt ice creams and make an ice cream sandwich or something. It helps. You might think, well, you're eating more. That protein keeps you full. But on days where I'm not feeling that way and I feel less hungry, I eat very light. And I just kind of let my spirit sort of take the reins a bit more. Instead of feeling like your higher self is elsewhere, kind of talking to you from the, the astral. Hey, stupid, stop fucking doing that, It's more like he or she's in your vessel, like they should be, and understanding. All right, I'm here. Like try that for me, okay? Like, just when you give yourself like a couple, if you meditate, even if you don't, if you can do it for like 30 seconds, get into that meditative state. And then just think of like your higher self coming into your body. Like if you're like a puppet when you're kind of freaked out and you don't know anything and you're in the matrix, you don't realize it. But then like when you start to be self-aware, like imagine him or her or whoever coming into that vessel and then opening your eyes, and it's like a virtual reality. And when you see it like that, you become more aligned with the present. The mind relaxes. Your immune system is actually boosted when you are in the present state as well. And your body, your hormones, everything starts to change. It starts to shift. Your cells shift. I'm telling you, your blood pressure will shift like over time with healing. Please don't feel guilty for resting right now, because I feel collectively that we need to rest, because I feel like things are going to get turbulent. And I feel like if we're clear-headed and we're fed and rested and we're thorough with researching things in a non-biased way without feeling exhausted and emotionally drained, we will be able to make so much change in this world for ourselves. Your world will change, and that will bleed on to other people around you. So mote it be. If not, and you want to be a wicked fucking bitch witch in the woods like me, you can join the club elsewhere. But like, like we have seasons of that. I've also been so involved in the world, and I'm really happy where I am in my life. So there's no right way to do things, okay, guys? That's what makes the human experience so amazing. It's like what you do and what I do, even if we did them exactly the same, are going to have different outcomes because of this. Yours can be grand, and mine's like, beep, 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 what the fuck did I do wrong? That. Going, what the fuck did I do wrong? It's that energy. You're not only casting spells on yourself to be stuck and have those blockages, and that energy, to me, when you start like self-wallowing, just feels like this big, it's almost like a cylinder. I see like silver energy, like just cycling around in a circle in front of you when people do that. Like a little mini tornado almost. And where's it going? Just nowhere. And where are you going when you do that? Nowhere. What about, the person that actually did the same thing? Like you did the same thing and you're going somewhere. You weren't doing this. That wasn't in your subconscious. You do this long enough, it's going to be back there without you thinking about it. Similar to like how you don't have to sit and think of your fucking heart beating. Like, can you imagine? Like, for real though, if you sat and thought about boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, you'd go nuts. You'd be exhausted. We're doing the same thing by giving other people, situations, circumstances our output instead of just coming inward. And that's going to look different for all of us. For me right now, it's being more in a meditative state. It's enjoying fun things, being present, and like enjoying movies, and they can be intense, they can be whatever. And for music, because my creative shit gets really sparked and inspired by music, my visions, music is a witchcraft tool. It's a magical tool. For me, just the past few days, I've been just focusing more on Hertz sort of music and being in meditative states during my downtime, connecting with spirits in a more slow-paced fashion, which I should be. Because sometimes when I'm communing with them, especially with King Belial or with Lucifer, it's very fast-paced. I've said this before. Lucifer is very thoroughly fast. Belial is very... I can think of like it's weird, but like 2 or 3 paragraphs worth of words and energy and feeling, and like we can exchange that. And they're just so advanced. And lately it's been very calm. It's been very me in my bed with my tarot reading, with my demon at the foot of my bed as usual. And I'm able to see him. I'm able to... This isn't just because of a few days. This has been like on and off for the past couple months for me going through this process. The past like 3 months, if anything. I'm able to, my third eye is becoming so open that it can scare you, okay? People go crazy over this, and it's because they're scared and they're not aware. I have these experiences. I don't try to think and focus on them either. There are times where I will be in this meditative state and I will feel completely like, oh my gosh, it's so weird because I can see like stars around me, almost like I'm not in fucking the earth, you know? And if I focused on that right now, like I could. I have a little cannabis in my system right now, and that's going to emphasize that. But at night, like I will be in my bed, just sitting crisscross applesauce, and I will be in front of me, and I can see him while I'm doing the cards, and it's freaky because he'll tell me the cards before I'll pull them at times. But there are times where, like, he will touch me. There are times where he'll touch me, and I'll be like, oh, fuck, it's a bug. You know, I'm in Australia. Because, listen, Americans, if you move to Australia, you're going to have a jump scare every time you open a drawer. So you want to do that? You don't want to do that. So, like, I'm serious. Okay, I'm so serious. I'm so serious, too, guys. It's never gotten easy for me. I'm just chronically from... It's just like having multiple heart attacks all day long. Every time you open a drawer, you're just hoping something's not in there. And most of the time it's not, but you'll attract it. One time I opened a bag of potatoes from the store and one came out and it crawled on my arm. And I knew it was Lucifer too because he was teaching me to get over my fear. I have trauma with roaches. Not because of hygiene or anything. I just had a psychopath that had a pet African hissing roach that stuck my hand in the tank so I wouldn't be afraid of it, and kept doing that for like a year. So I had this phobia, and now it's not as nearly as bad. Like, it's summertime, it rains here, we get wood roaches, so it's not, I have no trauma with lack of cleanliness, and I'm sorry that people do. So I'm not trying to imply that, but they got on my arm. It crawled out of the potato bag, and I had it in the sink, and it just, I knew it was going to happen one day. And my husband said that was irrational because he's been in Australia his whole life, and it never happened, and it fucking happened. It was just a little wood roach, but it was in the bag, and I put all of the fucking potatoes into the compost. I'm like, I seed saved some of them, and I'm like, these are going to be seeds. I was like, these are going to be seeds and compost. We're not eating these. I'm not washing them. I don't care. I'll fucking starve, okay? But anyways, you guys, please just take some time for yourself, all right? And just get back to that, because I feel like us collectively, especially spiritual communities, we are so hyperfixated right now on change because we are the voices. Witches really are, whether you're a man or a woman. In history and in antiquity, it was mostly women because we're in touch with the emotional side. I'm never trying to gatekeep that. I don't believe in that at all. But we are the voice of, political correctness or incorrectness. We are the voice of reason. We're the voice of needing diversity and standing up because this is what they taught us. I don't understand why that's a problem. I don't understand how that can be bad. Like, they taught us to speak up about these things, these systems that are set in place to oppress people based on their race and their sex and their sexual orientation. But we also need to stop feeding into it. We need to stop saying, I'm oppressed, I'm oppressed, I'm oppressed, I'm oppressed. Because we all are in different ways. We're casting spells on ourselves because a system convinced us to cast spells on ourselves and didn't explain that when we speak these words with feeling over and over that we incantate. It's not just when you have the intention to make a spell. You have to really, really, really watch what you say when you're feeling something. And I'm not saying it's going to happen right away, but when you chronically for years say, I'm oppressed, or I can't because of this, because of that. Well, what would happen if you started saying that you could in limited ways, but that you could make some sort of progress? Like, maybe I can't be Michael Jordan or something because I got, disabilities or my ankles are fucked up or something, but I can be involved in that sport in ways where I don't feel inadequate because that whole system was just set up for showboating anyways. There's plenty of amazing athletes that will never be discovered. This earth is abundant, and it doesn't matter just because American media showcases them doesn't mean that's the best in the world. So you have to remember that. Don't compare yourself to anything, to other practitioners, to other this and that. Just get some fucking rest. Take care of yourself. Please have gratitude right now. I just really feel like the world is going to be extremely turbulent. And I don't know why, because this is going to sound like some ho-hummy sort of fucking shit. But I genuinely believe that people with demonic attachment, it's going to be to your benefit, not because you're evil and you're feeding off the evil. There's going to be asshole edgelords that do that shit. But it's because it's because some of us, our lives operate completely fucking backwards. And the best you can do is transmutate the chaotic energy that's being pushed into your vortex. And transmutate that into peace and power for yourself. We don't have to be kumbaya. It's never going to happen. We need to be strong enough to defend our own villages. And we have to create our own villages. Even if that village is just fucking you. And you can't do that when you're exhausted.